Do not give anything under pressure. Never give anything under any form of pressure. I will explain to you what I'm trying to say. I started my banking career in 2008 in Jos, and I worked in marketing for a few years. I was later moved to operations. The first unit I worked in operations was clearing. Clearing units, what they do in clearing, a clearing officer who I was then, pick up other banks' checks that are paid into my bank, take it to CBN. I will meet other clearing officers of other banks. We will now meet in CBN. CBN is like the central where we meet to exchange checks. So I give a bank A their check, they give me my own check. So everybody now have their own bank check. You take it back to your bank and pass entry on these checks manually for them to clear. After a while, that pattern of clearing was abolished. We move into what they called truncation. Truncation is a way, there's a machine that is brought into the branch. When you now get other banks check, you don't go to CBN again to exchange check. You just pass those check through those machines. You scan them to head office. Head office take care of the rest. If it's funded, customers will be credited. Now, while I was doing clearing, there's this particular church that most checks that come into that church account, it bounces back. And what we mean by check bouncing is that either the check is not funded or there are irregularities like date, amount in words and figure, or some things or alterations on those checks, they will not fly. So it's so consistent on this particular church. I will not mention the name of the church. Just learn what I am trying to say to you. So we began to ask ourselves, what's the reason why this particular church is having this issue? So one day, one weekend, we were hanging out with my other banker friends. You know how we used to do our weekend. So, and we brought the same issues because we are all bankers there to ask, why is this thing happening? Because there's a guy, one of our friends too, a banker friend, who attends this particular church. The guy now opened up to us because he's a big boy in quotes. Now open up to us to tell us that the reason why these checks, most of the checks that come into this church account bounces is because people are being pressured to give. And I asked, what kind of being pressured? Is it that they put gun on their head or they can command them? He said, no. Because of, the way you are in church, everybody know, hey, he's a big boy, he's driving Lexus, and all that. But people are forgetting that it's not every time that your account is funded. There are some bankers or workers, maybe in oil company, that live on loan. But because people are giving, all right? In fact, most people that their check don't bounce are business people. So because people are giving and you too want to feel among, that is the pressure that the church have set on giving. They are so concerned about that. Then these checks, they just write these checks thinking they will fund the account before them. Most of the time they forget, or those accounts are actually not funded. It goes bad. Now, at a point, CBN was already putting an eye on that particular church to see any check that comes to this church will not be accepted, because a bounce check actually in Nigeria is actually a crime. If your check bounces and you are being reported, you go to jail. I think it's about 5 years in jail. Yeah, I remember then, because it's pasted in the bank to let customer know that you don't give a dull check. They call it dull check, right? So now we now discover that people give because they are compelled under pressure to give. Now, we have forgotten the part where the Bible says that whatever your right hand is giving, don't let the left hand know. The reason why the Bible said that, it's a parable. What the Bible was trying to say basically is that when you want to give God in secret. He said, and your Father who sees in the secret will reward you openly. That's what he's talking about. Yeah? That's what he's talking about. Will reward you openly. Now, the woman Jesus Christ described in the Bible that gave the widow's mite, that gave the best, she wasn't compelled. She was convinced in her spirit to give. There are people who gave more than what she gave. But she did that between herself and God. That was the only thing left. So, am I saying giving is wrong? No, giving is not wrong. But make sure you are convinced and give sacrificially. That is the best form of giving. I have given before that changed my life. Listen, let me tell you. There was a time I was raising money. I had not started my career then. I was raising money to get an apartment because I wanted to leave my uncle's house I was living. So I was raising money. I was looking at between 250,000. But how I'm going to pay the next year rent, I don't even know. But I was raising money for it. One day, the money has not even gotten anywhere. One friend gave me 10,000. Another friend gave me another 10,000. We were working then. The money had not gotten anywhere. And there was this need in church. The facility we were using in church is beginning to have a problem, like with the owner of the place. So they said they want to go and get their own land and put a tent there for service. They were calling people to raise money and all that. But I couldn't come out because I don't have. So when I got home one day, I got convinced in my spirit, what do you mean you don't have? But you are raising money for your own apartment. Why not give this money? And immediately the Spirit of God helped me, convinced my spirit. And I went to the pastor to ask for the account of that church. It happens at the same bank where I was saving that little small fund. And he gave me, I went there and transferred everything from my account to that place. That thing I transferred was nothing. Like, it's not up to a drop. It's not even up to a splash or how will I put it? It's not up to a drop of water, very small. But God did not look at the volume. God looked at the intention I gave. In 3 months, there was an overtaking bigger than anybody that I have seen that were ahead of me in that church. In the space of 1 year, I did my wedding, like fully funded by me. I did everything. I wasn't pressured to give. I had never been pressured to give. Don't let anybody preach any kind of message to you or bamboozle you. At the end of the day, you give, you not be blessed. Give because you are convinced, and give sacrificially. I'll catch you guys soon. Peace out.